Good morning, everyone. It's Linda G here with our favorite, Sterling.
Good morning,
This will be
everybody.
the last show for a couple of months. There's a lot of stuff. I'm going out of town. You're going out of town.
Yeah.
But so enjoy. You have a good summer. But thank you for your questions. Thank
And by
you.
the way, just to be clear, yeah, it's not the last show for us or for me,
No,
but
no,
the
we're going to be
collective
back
show, just so
on.
people, sometimes people get the wrong messaging there. It's
What? What are you guys doing? Yeah.
our collective show. Yeah.
Thank you to your team and Linda for going through. I saw there was over 300 questions.
Yeah. And we had almost 800 on our channel. So she goes
Yeah.
through a lot of questions and
I don't know how
tries
she does it. I'm
and
like,
tries to sort them out so in some respects, don't duplicate questions on our show and the show that you and I do here. So,
right,
yeah.
right. So I want to tell everybody I before we started taping, I did ask Sterling his thoughts about what happened last night. And I'm feeling myself that it was a staged event. That because they found a picture of this guy with IDF flags. Apparently, he's supposed to be a teacher, well respected. But I think there's more to the story, which is interesting because listen to what Sterling says.
Yeah, no, what I got right away, and I still get right now, this is an orchestrated event. So it's not a lone wolf event. It's not somebody acting just on their own. It's orchestrated, and there's some people pushing behind the scenes. But it may surprise people because it may not be exactly what people perceive of how
Okay.
this could be even like a cell, like a unique cell, like in the US, that's like pushing this. But there's something orchestrated here. It's not just a lone wolf event, is what I'm getting. Yeah.
Well, they sure acted real nonchalant. I mean,
Hmm. Yep.
they were all laughing and talking, and uh, I saw Melania look like she was truly scared.
Hmm.
But I don't think everybody knew about this, but I'm not thinking Trump didn't know. And he's known to do stuff like this. But um,
Yeah, this would give a rationale. This is a side comment, but this would be something that he could jump on and give a rationale for. We need major bunkers in the new ballroom
right,
because of
that's
this.
what he was
So
saying.
take
Exactly.
advantage of a situation. Yeah.
Yeah, he already started talking about that.
Yeah, and they're
But
going to
I'm
build
not
bunkers
seeing it
anyway, but
bringing his
yeah.
numbers up. Are you seeing it? But he's hoping his numbers will go up because of this, but I'm not seeing it.
And they're sna-
Everybody on social media is saying, once again, it's a fake.
yeah, I think it's an
Even,
orchestrated event, and
yeah,
I wouldn't use the word fake.
right.
There's a group behind it. Yeah.
But, it's definitely not Iran because Iran wouldn't have sent one guy in. They would have sent mass amounts of people
You're
behind each
correct.
other.
Yeah, if this was really being pushed by the supreme leadership, it would have been a different type of an event. Yeah.
Yeah, probably more with explosives and stuff.
Hmm.
Okay, well, thank you, you guys. And I'm doing a live at 11, and I can talk more about my hits.
Sure.
So, okay, will Iran wait to negotiate with 45 when he is removed from office?
I
Since
don't
he,
get, yeah, I don't get that they're waiting for anything. They're already on a collision course with trying to get revenge. So they're really not, whatever's going on is kind of smoke and mirrors above the scenes. It's not really the reality, what's going on behind closed doors in Iran and the planning that's going on. So they're not waiting for anything in reality. They have some revenge planned. Yeah.
I know I've been feeling that.
Hmm.
I'm feeling it's significant
Yeah.
too. But do you I know they'd love for him to be out. I actually think it when he's out of office, they might actually work with us if we had a decent person. They're not going to work with these people. They
Well,
even said we're
they have
not going to
long
work with you.
memories. They have long memories, and they don't forget easily, and don't blame them. So yeah, they're going to wait until they feel like the score is settled. Yeah.
Yeah. May I say and tell me if you agree or disagree. Bad move on Trump's part. Stupid, stupid, stupid. He should have never hit Iran.
Well, it just shows that we have somebody that's not really. I'm going to be very frank here. Intellectually capable, strategic. You don't just go in. It's like running into the middle of a burning building with no plan.
Exactly.
And the only bigger problem is all the people that enable him around him, including Congress. and the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So it's a huge problem for America and the world, and it'll get resolved. But yeah.
And Netanyahu's part of this, right?
Well, that's a collective group of individuals that are enabling each other, and
Yeah.
you do this and I'll do that, and it's not one individual, it's just a group around the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this will clean itself
Yeah.
out down the road. Former CIA analyst Larry Johnson alleged on a podcast this week 45 wanted to use nuclear codes against Iran during an emergency White House meeting, but that he was stopped by General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Johnson described the interaction as quite the blow up.
I get it's all true. It's
I
all
think
based
so
in
too.
fact. And when I read on this on our show last Sunday, at that time there were extraterrestrial groups that said we already stopped seven mass events, seven like mass extinction events. I wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of one of them they were alluding to. So yeah, it's true.
I've often felt him wanting to hit that button,
Yeah.
even when he was first president.
Hmm.
And I've always felt them being able to stop him.
Uh-huh.
Will Japan suffer more debilitating earthquakes and tsunamis?
They got about two more coming, like one the end of this year, one beginning of next year, and then it looks like it'll start to relax because whatever tectonic plates are moving out in the ocean are somehow they've released all that energy. So it's almost like incremental movement. And then by the time you get out until mid to late 2027, it looks like it relaxes for Japan. I see
Okay.
two more. Yeah.
Do you see Republicans trying another January 6th after the midterms?
I do, but it's going to look quite different because it looks to me like the military is going to be completely ready to go. And so it won't be a play out of like this chaos going for 4 or 5 hours. It'll be shut down like in 20 minutes,
But I don't
so
even know if they
yeah.
can get the numbers like they did before.
Yeah, it still looks like I see groups of being somewhat radicalized after the election and trying to come after certain major cities. But it's going to be shut down very quickly, it looks like. Yeah.
Yay, yay. Do you see Republicans? Wait. Will John Toomis from Apple keep the company in the forefront, or will the company have some struggles as Tim Cook leaves?
Yeah,
And
and so
they're
that's
saying
the
he kept, capped too late it with 45. He was
yeah,
at
and that's
45
that's the
months.
CEO coming in, the SVP of hardware engineering. Apple, they're going to have so a couple things coming up around Apple for me is what they're still going to struggle with innovation as they go forward. It's still going to be a struggle. But the bigger issue they're going to have is all the bets they made during Tim Cook on China manufacturing, offshore manufacturing. So that's going to be a big part of what they're going to wrestle with going forward is how they strike the right balance between manufacturing other areas of the world and all the bets on China. So yeah, but innovation's still going to be a struggle for the company, it looks like.
I feel he's leaving and he's disappointed as he's leaving. So I think some stuff happened that he just wants to get out.
Well, this is a long time in planning.
Oh,
His departure, and actually the real departure is not going to happen till like September of this year. And
oh,
then Tim's going to stay on as executive chairman. So I'm not quite so sure I see this as something that's out of the blue. It's a lot of planning going into it. He had a 15-year run, but I do see that the next person coming on board is going to have some real challenges. Yeah.
okay. Will 45 fire FBI director Cash Patel?
Yeah, I think it's coming very, very soon. Like very soon. I even last week, my team was saying we're right on top of that exit or that firing. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
he's
coming up
been
very
good.
soon here. Yeah.
Will American banks survive the next 2 years? Is our money safe?
They will. So, I see a split between the major large scale banks, the global banks, and then the smaller banks. So, the smaller banks I see in some respects are going to absorb by some of the larger banks. And there's going to be a group of smaller banks that will be in distress. So, I do see this like split. It's almost like a fork in the road between the major banks and the smaller banks. So, everybody's got to be a little careful with how you align, with the major banks or versus the smaller banks, it looks like.
Okay. Uh, will there be effective treatment for I can't even say it. Osteoporosis.
Yeah.
Can damage be reversed, or can the bones somehow be stronger?
So we're right on the cusp of some big breakthroughs in that area in terms of medical science in that area, because there's a lot of, obviously genetic engineering, CRISPR, T cell, uh, scientific research going on right now. So for osteoporosis, that's on the horizon. That's within 3 to 4 years here. We'll start to see some good medication to stop damage, reverse damage. Yeah, that's what they call the low-hanging fruit right now in genetic engineering. Yeah.
My mom had it, but she was on prednisone all her life with her
Hmm.
arthritis, and it just rips, it just takes everything from your
Yeah, it
bone.
does. Yeah.
And she took the medication that you take, and oh, it was heavy duty, hurt your stomach. Fortunately, I've got great bones, and my sister does too. Okay, 45 opened up 59 million acres of national forest for logging. What's going to happen? He's done that before, by the way.
Yeah, that accounts for like almost 30% of like national parks. But what I see is that only about 5% of that will be endangered. So it's like he gets stopped by the time we get out past the midterm elections. It's almost like he gets a foot in the door. So 5% of the national parks get damaged, not the full 30% or
Yeah,
59 million acres. So it doesn't get off to a roaring start and get stopped before it really gets
yeah, I see a
disastrous.
lot of
Yeah.
stuff going to court, but also remember his last administration, they make deals with these guys that come in. They were
Hmm.
drilling on uh, uh, the Grand Canyon,
Right.
and
Right.
as soon as Biden walked through the door, he cut it off.
Hmm.
Okay. The 45 regime is trying to deport Afghans to the Congo who were promised resettlement in the U.S. Will they be stopped, and will the Afghans remain in the U.S.? Damn.
Well, I see a lot of activity up through the midterm elections, and then it like comes to a halt. It comes to a
Oh, God.
stop. So it looks like
Yeah.
somehow Congress gets in there and then stops that. And I see a lot of them being brought back from on our dime. It's like we're righting a wrong kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit of a chaotic situation for them up through the election, the midterms. Yeah.
Why do UFOs need blinking lights like we use on our planes and jets?
So they don't. Those are the reverse engineered UFOs or UAPs, not the real UFOs or UAPs. Now, there's like a plasma, because of the anti-gravity propulsion system, there's a plasma element around a lot of these aircraft, the UAPs, that can look like sparkling light, but it's not the flashing lights you see on the reverse engineered ones. So it's only the human reverse engineered ones that are using like, landing lights and lights on the corners.
Right. Because when I've looked at actual UFOs up in the hills of Sedona, they didn't have flashing lights.
Correct. Yeah. Those are the reverse engineered ones. Yeah.
Will 13 destroyed military bases be restored?
Yeah, it's going to take many years. And so those like 13 military bases that are now uninhabitable across the Middle East, like the Qatari government responsible for, and Saudi Arabia and whatnot, it's going to take a few years to restore them. Yeah, they will be restored.
Um, I got to tell you, I don't know why Cash Patel's face just came to me. I could tell that he looked worried when he was standing behind Trump yesterday. There was, you could tell he wasn't drinking because he doesn't dare drink in front of everybody. But I could tell, they said he's been phobic and he knows he's going to get fired. But I could tell that he just sat there in the audience for a long time. He's barely functioning. I don't know why I had to say that. Sorry. Um, will the billionaires and millionaires who gave 45 money for the ballroom actually buying space in his civil defense shelter under the ballroom?
I don't get there's a direct relationship there because a lot of the billionaires, Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, whatnot, they've already built bunkers worldwide. So really not concerned about bunker space in DC. No, I get they're buying favor, right? So
Yeah.
we contribute, and now we need relaxation of tariffs or something. They're buying favor. Yeah,
Yeah. By the way, they're not coming forward suing for their tariff money.
right.
So, okay. Will we be safe with humanoid robots roaming the earth? What is the best way for us to prepare ourselves for their arrival physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially?
Well, they're already here. So, to a large extent, a lot of the robot technology has already been deployed. You can already see some of it appearing around Europe and parts of the US and whatnot in Asia. But they're not, these robots are going to be, for the most part, serving humanity. So they're doing household chores. They're driving your kids to school, whatever it is, So there's nothing to be afraid of there. These are in service to like humanity. It's not like maybe the person asking the question is thinking that somehow extraterrestrial groups are going to deploy a lot of robots. No, it's
Yeah.
actually they're going to be made by humanity.
Okay.
Yeah.
I live near the town of Cannon City, Colorado. The farmers here are worried that there won't be enough water for their hay crops. Do you see us getting enough rain on for farms and the animals on the Great Plains?
I get they have another year to go. So it's
Okay.
going to be a little bit of a rough tranche for another year. And I think they're even going to get sporadic rainfall between now and a year out. And then somehow it starts to relax and turn around. So a little bit of a difficult year, 12 months going forward with sporadic rainfall. But I think it's going to start to turn around.
It didn't seem that long ago that Georgia was in a terrible drought. And
Mhm.
then they turned around and they got rain. And now they've got drought again and they got huge fires out there.
Right. Very true.
Prayers for everyone in Georgia.
Yeah.
Ron DeSatan is begging 45 for a post in his administration. Will 45 give DeSatan a position?
I get he's going to throw him a bone, but not going to give him like Secretary of State or Defense. It's almost like maybe, an ambassadorship someplace, like throw him a bone.
Okay.
Like, that's what I'm getting. Like, stay by the wayside. I'm going to give you something to quiet you down, but you're not going to be Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense.
No.
No big position. No.
I also feel he doesn't really like Ron DeSantis.
He doesn't like Trump.
No, I think, no, I think Trump doesn't like DeSantis.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have a bro fest going way back, right? So, there's no love lost there. Yeah.
Will Cash Patel take the alcohol abuse test that Congress is requesting? I
Yeah,
don't know.
I get he's gonna take the test. And now this is like that test I think they're talking about is more of a written test to look at your psychological profile, your propensity to drink or something. I get he's gonna take it or even get somebody else to take it on his behalf. Yeah, I get he's gonna take it. So this is not a physical alcohol test, it's like a written test, is what I'm
Okay.
getting. Yeah.
Okay. But he's getting ready to go pretty soon.
Right.
Does Tucker Carlson take marching orders from the CIA since his dad worked for the CIA?
I don't get any direct relationship there at all with Tucker Carlson. I get he's doing his own thing. Even if people call him and say, we're from the CIA, he's like, hangs up. I mean, so
There you go.
I don't get he's taking any, no, orders there.
What percentage of corporate news agencies, networks, and podcasters take money from government agencies and foreign governments to misrepresent or omit news stories?
I get it's a surprisingly high number.
That's what I just felt.
It's like 70% of everything you're seeing is somehow compromised.
Yep.
Now, compromise means, they would have given like fair and balanced reporting, but they're getting $10 million from this offshore country. So they're
Yeah,
being nicer in some of the news stories. Yeah, I get it's like 70%. It's going to take a while for that to kind of come back to some reasonable percentage when not everybody's on the payoff.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
After the chaos is over in this country, will it lean towards being more environmentally responsible and try to ease up on the use of oil based products?
Yes, but that's already started. So it's not the chaos we're experiencing now. It's interesting enough that train already left the station and it's already moving that direction. If you go back even a couple of decades, humanity already realized we have to do something in the future. Green technology, solar technology, electric vehicles, moving towards cold fusion power. Yeah, it's not accelerating it. The train's already moving pretty well down the track. Yeah.
All right. Okay, with so many departments in the government dismantled or destroyed, how will we rebuild those agencies?
The big word I get around that is reinvention. So everything's not going to come back the way you knew it, but it's going to come back to provide some of the same functionality, but reinvented.
I
And
do
and
see a lot
reinvented
of
some
people that were fired coming back too.
Yeah, and reinvented almost in a better way. So it's like a re-enhancement of the way certain divisions or groups within the government handled business before. Remember, AI is going to really transform everything we deal with, so there'll be more efficiencies that are created. But they'll all come back and get reinvented. Yeah.
Wow. Is there or will there ever be treatments for T cell lymphoma?
Yes, and in fact, I get that there are already big developments out of London. I just heard London Calling. You know that song London Calling or something? Yeah, like big developments already right now out of London. So whoever asked that question, take a look. There's something coming probably going to be in the news very shortly.
I love it. That's great.
I heard that song about London Calling, right? That's
Yeah, I could see your eyes kind of going, what's this about?
yeah.
What do you see coming up next week?
I've been picking up here the last 24 hours going forward here. There's some sort of I'm going to call it an airline mishap, an airline accident around Europe that involves the water. So whether this is like a jet goes off the runway into the water or very soon after takeoff drops into the water, I see a lot of survivors. So, but I keep getting the water, airline incident, airline accident around Europe. So something
Okay.
coming up here. I think everybody's going to be okay, but lot of water, which is not a
Oh,
good
yeah.
thing. Airplanes and water don't always mix well. Yeah. Also, more ships being seized in the Strait of Hormuz. More ships on both sides,
Yeah.
like Iran ships, U.S. There's something going on here where there's a lot of consternation still in the strait. Also, I don't see I have to be the bearer of bad news here. I don't see any peace talks on the horizon or
No.
any peaceful negotiation. Whatever you're hearing in the news is all riffraff. It's all people making up stories. Oh, we're close to a deal. Oh, we're going to talk. None
That's
of
Trump.
that's yeah, none of that's happening. I just want to be it's the bearer of bad news. There's not going to be any peace talks for quite a while and real peace for quite a while. So that's all ongoing. I do see, yeah, and another member of the administration leaving. This could be Kash Patel this week, but there's like another big like press release and they're out. Yeah, so
They might even blame him for this guy getting through, even though it really wasn't his fault, but they looking for something to get rid of him.
yeah, yeah. It's really I guess this individual I just saw on the news this morning was staying in that hotel for a couple of days.
Oh, he was.
And so they want to know he had a rifle and I guess handguns. So they want to know that's a Hilton, I believe.
Yeah.
How did you check into the Hilton? He took a train apparently from Southern California to Chicago and then Chicago to DC. I guess that's so he could transfer the weapons or something. So
Yeah.
a lot's got to be looked into here. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but
Yep.
there's something really fishy about it.
Mhm.
Um, but you see Trump hanging in there right now?
Well, the end's coming. We're coming to a climax pretty soon here. The GOP base is now not behind him. You've got massive people in the media like Joe Rogan now not supporting him, who's got
Yeah.
millions of followers. I see Tucker Carlson going off the rails. I see Marjorie Taylor Greene. The writing's on the wall. Yeah. So.
It's starting.
Mhm.
And the people are very angry about him with this war. They didn't want a war.
Of course. But I have to tell you that in a large sense, it's a big distraction from the Epstein files.
That's what he
So,
wanted. Yep.
and also at the Correspondents' Dinner, there were supposed to be a lot of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein that were going to attend. and actually do something in the lobby or try to make their voices heard. And I think that worked into a lot of this too. So a
Yeah,
lot,
that
yeah.
makes total sense. Because when you see him running through, he wasn't going to be able to try to assassinate him. He was running through. Did you see that?
Hmm.
He just had a he hit some guy back where he didn't really hurt him because the guy had a
Right.
vest, but he was flailing. He wasn't even anyway. Do you have anything you guys want to share?
Yeah, simply put, I think it's an important message. Do not give in too much to fear. There's actually a
Yeah,
much brighter future ahead. Absolutely a much brighter future. Lean into that and vision that whenever you can. But don't give in to all the fear. Doesn't mean you hide under a rock and you don't listen to what's going on in reality. But when you make that reality the reality you think is the future, that's where you're going off the rails. There's a
yeah.
much brighter future coming.
And
Yeah,
unfortunately, there's so much fake news out there. You have to really have discernment
yep,
and just wait for more information.
exactly.
Well, thank you so much, my friend. So, are you totally booked with readings?
Yeah, we're booked. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's wonderful and yeah, so you know it's when you get booked. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All right, sweetie. We shall
All right.
talk to
You know,
you
one
and
last
talk.
message, people that might be new to your channel. We don't know who's watching all these shows all the time, but you know, obviously we do have a YouTube channel, Sterling Psychic Medium.
Yes.
People are welcome to go there. And we also do have a what we call a platinum membership. I do live streams on Friday mornings at 10 o'clock a.m. and answer a lot of personal questions that viewers might have of their family or whatever's going on in their life, as well as we do mediumship. So if anybody wants to join our platinum membership, there's a join button on the front page of the YouTube channel, Sterling
But you
Psychic
have to
Medium, as
be
well
on
as
a
the
computer
website.
or iPad.
Sterling,
You can't do it from a cell phone.
sterlingpsychicmedium.com is the website. There's a join button there, and there's a full explanation of the membership. There's a
Yeah.
membership tab there. So yeah,
I'm sorry for interrupting, but
that's
you
right.
you can't get on that unless you're on a computer, a PC, or iPad. You can't join from your phone. People will say to me, "I don't see the join button." It's because are you on an iPhone? Yes, that's why. You have to go to a PC. So,
Good point. Good point. Now, you could certainly use the membership once you're joined, but yeah,
yes.
joining,
Yes.
yeah, because once you're joined, you're logged into your account. That's the other thing I think people have trouble with. They'll say join on their desktop, then they can't get access to on their phone. We have to log into your account on your phone.
There you go.
So
There you go. Okay. All right, my friend. Thank you everybody for coming by. It was great seeing everyone.
absolutely everybody. Thank you.
Cheers.